Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. We keep having the dry, and it's not looking so great for my grass, but it makes you think, oh, the house is going to be okay. There's no rains, right? Or if there is an issue, we won't know. Well, at all times of the year, you find things around your home or your office when it comes to leak, water damage. Water Cleanup of Florida will make sure it feels like there's nothing wrong because they'll find the issue and they'll get rid of it. And because of their licensed, insured, certified contractors, they'll make it look brand new. 954-579-0356. That's the number to call. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Water Cleanup of Florida will make your life as easy as if you never had a problem. And that's the biggest thing for me is I'm not a fan of dealing with issues. It stresses me out. I get anxious. I get anxiety. Just call 954-579-0356, and you don't have to do anything. They do it all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Reach out to them, set up an appointment. We had them work on our home, and they were fantastic. We've worked with a lot of different service industry people, and they get the job done, but the process is so fun. It's seamless with Water Cleanup of Florida. Check them out on their website, WCUFL.com, WCUFL.com. Check them out on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Water Cleanup FL. Go to Google. Lots and lots and lots and lots. Over 75-star reviews. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have the schmutz, believe me, they have the guts. Miami Heat are the organization that has had the guts here in South Florida for nearly 3 decades. They're hovering around 5. They're a little over 500 now, but they're hovering around the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. Have had some opportunities to really get into that 3rd, 4th seed, but they just fall short. Trade deadlines fast approaching. We keep hearing rumors about who the Heat are interested. Today, Defo and I talked about some of the possibilities the Heat may go after of additions to this team. Plus, the Miami Dolphins were rumored to be making a huge splash at the defensive coordinator position. Now there's a hang-up. Obviously, it's the Dolphins. We talked about it with Miami Dolphins columnist Chris Perkins today. The Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
All right, Chris Perkins is going to join us, though, and we'll talk about some of those things. And the Fangio story certainly is, an interesting one with this new wrinkle that he may not come to coach the Miami Dolphins defense, and that was going to be an interesting dynamic. Now, nobody better to talk NBA trade with and the trade deadline than Mike Lubitz, correct?
I would say no, but Scoop's probably
better. All right, so who's at the bottom there? I mean, Toronto's going to trade people that are of value, right? And everybody wants this, is it OG Anunoby? Everybody wants this guy. He's a top target for a lot of teams.
He's still young and can do a lot of things.
Apparently, he's a top-notch defender of three-point shooters on the perimeter. And also is capable of knocking down shots.
Yes, he's the
OG Anunoby.
The 3 and D. He's would be one of the top guys on the Heat's list. The Heat need a perimeter defender to take pressure off of Jimmy Butler. Caleb Martin is.
Would Fred Van Vliet be a better option at point guard than Kyle Lowry for the Miami Heat?
Oh well, yeah.
That's not being talked about much. You mentioned John Collins coming to the Heat. I mean, is it true, Lubie, that they probably have more chance of getting Joan Collins?
I guess
to play for them. Yeah,
the Hawks want a lot. The Hawks want like a Rudy Gobert kind of trade, and Collins hasn't even done. Like Gobert, for as one-dimensional as he is multi-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year. Like Collins isn't that. Collins is a nice player, and he's sort of been bogged down in that team because they have a lot of guys like him, but he's not worthy of some freaking monster trade. So.
Unless his game had tailed off significantly, why would Jay Crowder be available from the Phoenix Suns? Jay Crowder, a lot of conversation. I don't know. I guess this was local sports talk I was listening to where everybody's, getting all excited about Jay Crowder possibly returning to the Heat. But Jay Crowder was also instrumental in the success of the Phoenix Suns as they went to the NBA Finals, even though they ended up choking that away against Milwaukee that year. Remember that? They were up 2-0. And it looked like they were on cruise control.
That's years ago.
The Bucks looked completely beaten. I mean, and out of it. And didn't they come back and win the next 4?
Yes.
In that series? Wow,
yes.
That was ugliness.
Yes.
I remember ripping a friend of mine, as he said, now's the time to unload. I was in Las Vegas when they were up 2-0, the Phoenix Suns in that series. And a buddy of mine, Piscataway Ray, said, now's the time to unload on Milwaukee. And, of course, he said, what are you, out of your fucking mind, Ray? I mean, I'm the one that's in Vegas. I mean, if you want to wire me some money out of your own pocket, sure, I'll bet Milwaukee for you. And sure enough, they ended up sweeping the next 4, which you probably could have made a fortune on. And it didn't look like that was going to be the case. But Jay Crowder wasn't he a big part of that whole thing?
He was. But they're struggling this year, so I think they're trying to do the thing where
they've just won 7 in a row, though. I mean, I think they're on a 7-game winning streak, the Phoenix Suns.
I don't know. I know that.
And I'm not sure if Booker has come back into the lineup yet. I haven't really looked at the box scores, but I'm pretty sure I saw on a crawl last night that was Phoenix's. They beat somebody pretty badly. What was it, San Antonio? And that was their 7th consecutive win. So they seem to have righted the ship with Ayton, who was in the doghouse, right? I mean, what a strange organization, huh? Ayton, who was a big hero during their chance to, where they surged towards a championship, all of a sudden became dog meat like earlier this year. They were ready to unload him. But anyway, is Jay Crowder available, and is there a reason for it? Because you would think that if Phoenix was surging again, and they have to feel that when they have Devin Booker at 100% back in the lineup, that they're going to be a factor. Although Chris Paul has been hit with a haymaker from Father Time.
Yes,
Chris
he
Paul.
looks old. He doesn't look Kyle Lowry old because he still is averaging almost 10 assists, but he's not the second best player, at times best player on a championship contender at this stage of his career.
I believe this guy signed with this team as a free agent now and as, trade material. Bojan Bogdanovic?
Yes, that's the other guy that he want badly. He's a
wow.
Really good,
I mean,
really
and he
shooter.
would be a good guy. What made him sign with Detroit? I mean, what was he thinking?
They paid him well.
That they were a young team on the come? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we pretend to be mind readers here on the program, but was it just the biggest money offer?
Yes.
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yes, because remember, every team has to spend a certain amount of money, and not every team is desired. So, whereas Bogdanovic would help a winner, winners can't afford to give him $30 million. Like, winners have to pay their stars, and Bogdanovic is a notch above average and below star. So, like, but if he goes to a crappy team, he can get star money. So the Pistons, no one's going to.
He'd be an asset for the Heat, no? I mean,
yes,
all those things that Duncan Robinson was supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Plus, he has a better mid-range game than
ball
a lot of the
plays some defense.
Three-point shooters.
He's not totally a liability defensively, and he's a really good scorer. Like, he's super underappreciated as a scorer. Like, whenever the Heat play him, he dominates the Heat. But
I want to say, a high percentage shooter. I don't know what his shooting percentage is, but seems like every time you see highlights. Now, naturally, in the highlights, he's not missing any shots, but that he's making a predominant number of the shots that he takes, and and in a different variety, right? I mean, you have some guys that are just stationary 3-point shooters. That's all they do. Remember Bowen, right? Bruce Bowen.
Put it this way:
stationary 3-point shooter,
averaging 21 a game. Now I get it. When you're on a bad team, someone has to score. I understand, but he's averaging 21 a game on almost 49% shooting from the field and almost 42% shooting from 3. That's better than anyone outside of Bam for the Heat.
And it's not like he's inside a lot. So that 49% represents, a very, very accurate shooting percentage.
Yes.
The kind that, used to be the measuring stick, was the barometer for me. I mean, when I see guys shooting 34% for the game and they had 31 points, and you're like, what? That's garbage to me. All right, this is old school mentality that you should be shooting, even if you're an outside shooter, somewhere around 50%.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're a chucker. No?
100, yeah, for sure. Efficiency. Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's efficiency.
By the way, I mean, okay, so all of that is happening. I mean, what do you think? Are there going to be moves made that are of significance towards the trade deadline? And who do you think is going to, be the most aggressive there, Mike Lubie? You're hoping it's your Miami Heat,
well,
who seem to be at least, and this is going to be cliche, personified, a piece away from being a championship contender, my friend.
The right piece. I mean, I don't know if any schmank, I don't know if Jay Crowder's making them a contender.
Like Shaq in his prime might be a piece.
No, I mean, like a Bogdanovic actually makes them, to me, right around those other 3 or 4 teams in the East. The Lakers supposedly are going to be very aggressive because they're trying to hold on to dear life that they can maybe make a move in the West. I don't know.
If they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis at good health, they have enough in supporting cast. It may not be the most illustrious. They do have Westbrook. He's turned into a functional, asset for him, although he's on the trading block, supposedly.
They need shooting.
And they just picked up this guy from the Wizards, the Hachimura guy, whatever his name is.
He's a big. They need shooting. They need shooting.
By what was the name?
Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura.
The Eagles return man, Vaisek Kahima. Remember him punching the goalpost there? That was great. Chris Perkins joins us here on the show. Was Jay Fiedler the best post-Marino quarterback? With the jury still out on Tua Tagovailoa, could you say, is it a fair statement that Jay Fiedler so far has been the most accomplished NFL quarterback that has played for the Dolphins since Dan Marino?
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any question. And
no question.
The guy went, well, I mean, he's got the playoff berth, right? That's kind of how we have to judge it. I think that Ryan Tannehill was a better quarterback, but Fiedler had a better team around him. And believe it or not, Fiedler had a better coach with the staff. They won that. So, I think you have to say so. But I think that Ryan Tannehill is a fairly close second. And then, to me, there's a pretty big gap after that. We'll see what Tua is able to accomplish. But, I guess he's got the one playoff appearance, so he's gaining ground on both of them. But he's got to stay healthy, obviously.
Yeah, which, is a huge question mark involving Tua Tagovailoa and the future of the Miami Dolphins, who ended up very similarly as they did the year before at 9-8. So not a whole lot of progress was made in spite of all of the changes that were made. All right, is it real or Memorex? I mean, what's going on with this Vic Fangio story? Is he coming? Is he going? Was it all bullshit? What do you say, Chris?
You know what? Just being optimistic, I think there's room for everybody to be correct. And so we saw that ESPN and NFL Network have reported that the Dolphins and Fangio have agreed in principle or agreed to terms. And then Mike Silver reported that he talked to Fangio and Fangio said nothing is done. And so I think there's a window where everybody is correct from the standpoint of agreed to terms. That's like an oral commitment in college football, right? Guys change commitment. It's not done till you sign that letter. So with Fangio, it's possible that they have agreed to terms, but he's still listening to other offers because he hasn't signed a contract with the Dolphins. That's what I'm thinking, Defo. But you know how the Dolphins are. They might have leaked this thing before it was actually done. So who knows? Who knows with the Dolphins, Defo? That's the whole key to this, is that you can see it just going off the rails because this is the Dolphins.
Yeah, I was thinking, holy Bill Arnsparger, man. I mean, this is the kind of guy. I mean, maybe Arnsparger will end up being the guy. They just have the carcass of a deceased, man on the sidelines. But I thought the move, it sounded good because you have the young coach in McDaniel, and then you get the old salty dog, stodgy old NFL mainstay in Vic Fangio, who, regardless of what people thought about his head coaching tenure there with the Broncos, which was weak, certainly well respected as a defensive coordinator and thought to be one of the gurus in that category.
Yeah. And look, this is a defense that needs a new look because you can't play the same way that you played with Brian Flores, or even the way you tried to play last season, which was using those cornerbacks to shut down everything. You didn't have Byron Jones last year, obviously, and Josh Boyer, the dearly departed defensive coordinator, kept trying to press and play man and play that same style. And, after you've lost Byron Jones and Nick Needham, the slot corner, it's tough. Kader Kohu, the undrafted rookie, turned out to have a pretty good year playing alongside Xavier Howard, but they needed to have a little more diversity in their game, and they didn't. They kept trying that same style. So with Fangio's defenses are usually led by the front seven. The Dolphins were playing a defense that was led by the secondary. This defense, we think this defense will be led by the front seven, Christian Wilkins and Bradley Chubb, who just got named to the Pro Bowl. Not sure if I agree with that. He did have 8 sacks, counting his sacks in Denver. But, yeah, Christian Wilkins and Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips and Zach Sealer and Landon Roberts, the front seven, and that pass rush, if Melvin Ingram comes back, the Chubb, Phillips, Ingram pass rush, that will be the lead, the tip of the spear, so to speak, for this defense. That's what Fangio will do. Now, you still need to upgrade talent-wise. But, yeah, I think that Fangio would bring a totally different style of defense to this Dolphins team, and a style that I think fits their personnel better, by the way.
Well, Perk, it's funny. The defense has been the story the last week or so because of the Fangio hiring, that people actually we're giving the Dolphins credit, which is rare, for that higher home run, grand slam. Again, not terms you hear when the Dolphins usually make a move. So, of course, it would sour. Like, that's as Dolphins as it gets. The story all season was Tua, and by the last quarter, his injuries. The concussions, now we're a month and a half away. People, it's sort of, they're not playing, so the story went away. But, of course, it was reported last week that Tua's still in concussion protocol, which for me, I was like, okay, I don't care either way. They're not playing. Like, what is the story there? But supposedly people made a story in the sense that, how is he still in the protocol? Why is he still in the protocol? I've heard people with sense say it's not that hasn't progressed, that he's the same where he was. They're being very cautious. 2 concussions in a month and a half, 3 concussions in 3 months. It's not that he's stymied or anything like that. He's doing fine. You cover the team closely. What was that report? What does that mean? And how is Tua, from what you've heard, progressing?
Man, Lubie, that's a very good question, and there's a lot of levels to that.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that Tua is still in concussion protocol, I think it is, I guess, a little troubling. Guys usually aren't in concussion protocol for a month. However, the Dolphins did have a tight end Stephen Carter this season, who got a concussion in the opener, and he never played again. You know, he sat out the whole season. Yep. They had another tight end, Hunter Long, who got a concussion, and he was out. I want to say Hunter Long was in protocol for about 3 weeks. So with Tua, it's you question, why is he in so long? But there's precedent for it also, even on the team, and the Stephen Carter precedent is not a good one. The guy missed the whole season. But really, I'll tell you this, Lubie, my bigger thing is, why did the Dolphins leak this story? Like, what do they have to gain? Are they showing that they're totally behind Tua and they're giving him every opportunity before they go after Tom Brady and they just wash their hands and say, well, we gave Tua every opportunity we could? Or, like, what do they have to gain? Like, are they showing that they're being really cautious with Tua? Like, I don't understand, and I don't know that the Dolphins leaked it, but I would think that they did. I just don't know what's their angle in leaking that. That's something I can't figure out. Usually, if it's an agent or the team, or, if there's some news about, just say Byron Jones or whatever, you could kind of figure out what the news is, which side it came from, and why. This Tua thing, him still being in concussion protocol, I believe the report. I'm wondering the why. Why is this? And the other part of that was that the Dolphins are not going to pursue Tom Brady. That was the other story that was leaked the next day to ESPN. And so, are they building some case that we're totally behind Tua? I wonder about the why, not the actual reporting, but what does somebody have to gain by leaking these 2 pieces of information? Tua is still in protocol, and the Dolphins don't intend to pursue Tom Brady.
What happened, man, after Harvey Green left the organization? I guess he's still around in some kind of hemorrhagitis stature. But they might have the worst PR, of any team, including going back to that Tim Tebow celebration there with the Denver Broncos many years ago when Tony Sperano went Red Sea defense in the fourth quarter and allowed Tebow to continue his pro career. Otherwise, I think he was going to be cut.
He was about
right after the fourth quarter of that ball game.
So to recap, Bojan Bogdanovic, who a lot of you Heat fans really want, he's a guy averaging over 21 points a game, shooting ridiculous from inside and outside the three-point line, exactly what the Heat need at this point. And unlike a Robinson, he can actually defend a little, he can facilitate, he gets to the basket. So he's a more well-rounded player, bigger contract. Seems like, from what we're hearing, it's maybe a tough one for the Heat to attain, but the Heat are definitely interested in him. The D'Angelo Russell murmurs still exist. John Collins, not so much. And then Jay Crowder, the Bucks have put together the kind of package the Heat are not trying to put together for Jay Crowder, but he's a guy that he's not a big name, but he may be the perfect role to instill some toughness on this team, keep the defensive effort that is strong going, and he can hit that open three, which is something the Heat have sort of struggled with this year. The three-point percentage, the three-point shooting is not good. So it could be interesting the next week or so. The Heat usually don't stand pat, pun intended. Mickey Harrison's not one to go over the luxury tax, but the Heat are in the weird window. Jimmy Butler, who's logged a lot of minutes, played really tough his entire career, is in his prime, and he's playing the best ball of his career. How long will he do this? How long will he be at this level? You have to take advantage of it. So the Heat, it seems like, will be active getting into the trade deadline. And then those Dolphins are exciting. are fun, have key pieces on offense and defense. The defense coordinator, it's an open spot. Vic Fangio feels like a perfect fit. It seems like it's done. Not so fast. But Chris Perkins believes that the Dolphins are still in and still have a good shot at Vic Fangio. We'll see. We'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow morning. Check us out morning 7 to 9 on South Florida Live, the Defo Show with Lubie, YouTube, Facebook, on the socials at SoFly Live, at Defo Show, at Lubie on air. Check us out. Our national podcast, we talk with hilarious and wise handicapper Brandon Lang each week. Check him out. He talked about conference championship games. We'll talk with him later in the week. And always have some fun conversations there. The Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And then check us out here with our South Florida content, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.